And then
Absolutely.
we get nothing, and then all of a sudden we found a house.
Like, oh, I'm in a live deal that they'd signed 4 days ago, and they just tell you.
When's settlement? When's the auction date?
Yeah. Oh, love that one. Love that one. Welcome back to the Two Board Brokers. I'm Paul.
And I'm Danny. How are you, everybody? Thanks for tuning in again. And it's been a little while since we last posted. We've both been extremely busy. We've been that busy, in fact, that we've both actually had to take on an admin support, which me and Paul share. So so it can only be a good thing when you're hiring staff. And I think that just goes as a bit of a testament to what's going on out there in the market at the moment. With more and more people looking towards brokers for their home lending and their financial requirements. Just before we get going, Paul, I just wanted to share something, and I think I just wanted to show. Now, we're not sponsored at all, but will you just have a look at this?
Scalp. Oh, stop it!
I know.
That is brilliant.
Can you see the name of it?
Dome. Yeah.
Dome.
That's brilliant. Did one of your agents get that for you, or did you come across it?
No, I come across, somebody actually bought it for me for Christmas, but I thought, you know what, and it is so good. Scalp cleaner, shampoo for hair, soap dries the scalp, body wash for the body. And so it kind of does a bit of everything for guys with no hair. Boom.
Just what men need. I like it.
It's
well, thank you, Dome.
Good.
Thank you for appearing.
Vegan friendly, paraben free, and silicone free. So well done, Dome.
I don't use it anymore. Okay.
Established 2019. So there you go. And I've been buying from Temu again, mate.
Oh no, you haven't. What have you got for us today?
Well, I've got a couple of. I did buy a vlogging camera, and I've also bought a couple of mics, like fancy ones, like you've got on there. But I haven't unpacked it yet, so I've got no idea how good it was. But I mean, worst case scenario, $70.
Can't complain, eh? What's the plan with the vlogging camera? Are you going to get out and do some broker walks, or like?
Well, it could be for anything really. I'm going on a 5-week trip in August, September. I'm going home for the first time in 24 years. So we're going to do a bit of a travel vlog, really for friends and family. But if it comes out all right, then might post a bit to YouTube. We're going to about, I don't know, 6 or 7 different countries. So we might do some hotel reviews and bits and pieces, like just have a bit of a laugh and a bit of fun with it. It might never see the light of day, but if it does, then yeah, we'll just have a bit of fun. But now this next bit might be a little bit. Anyway, I'll just show you. So what do you think about this?
What is it? Be advised. I've got to read it backwards. Can you read it? Because I can't see it. It's all back. There you go. That's better. Thank you. Lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part. Love it. New tagline for the Two Board Brokers, I think, mate. New tagline for the Two Board Brokers. Yeah.
I found it on Temu, and I thought, actually, because what do we say to clients? We say, look, we're only as good as the information that you provide.
Yeah, so, every time, man. Every time.
And then we get nothing, and then all of a sudden we found a house, but you haven't filled out anything.
Yeah, we haven't got anywhere. Don't you love that, eh? Or the one I haven't had it for a while, but I've had it in the past where it's like, oh, I'm in a live deal that they'd signed 4 days ago, and they just tell you. It's like, what? Like, where did that come from?
When's settlement? When's the auction date?
Yeah. Oh, love that one. Love that one. 2 days time.
3 days time.
Yeah.
So why don't we start off there for our watchers, bank turnaround times, mate, and also what can we offer to be able to get our clients market ready. What are some of the things that you do in regards to getting them market ready, so that they can go to an open home and they can go confidently, and bid confidently, rather than
they go to an auction or. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
so
anything really, because um, we know that a lot of people that go to open homes aren't pre-approved,
yeah,
and obviously they've got no idea of the process. Why should they? But gone are the days where you can kind of find a house and then get a pre-approval the next day. You just can't do that anymore. And so this, I think, like things like this, where we're sort of trying to educate clients with realistic expectation times and how you can get ahead of the game. So let's start off with that. We both work for Vega. We both have associations with Baileys. Do you have? Is it
yeah,
Baileys or
yeah.
Eves? Yep.
Bailey's for me. Yeah,
Yep. So Baileys, and occasionally we go to open homes. We're in the office, so we get sort of access to all the homes and everything that Baileys have got to offer. It doesn't mean to say that we can only deal with Baileys, but because we're sort of sat here, Bailey's selling houses, we're organising money for clients to buy those houses. It
been a
kind of
natural
works really
circle, eh? It
nicely.
just keeps going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it is.
yeah.
But what we are finding is, as I say, they're not market ready. They don't know the
Nah.
process. So what are you sort of what are you doing to prepare your clients?
So probably a big thing for me is, and our past guest and our leader of the Wolfpack, Harry, our CEO, right? So he always talked to me when I first started at Vega about having a perception when I'm talking to people that I am here to be with people at point early. So if I'm dealing with my real estate agents at Bailey's or Harcourts or whoever I'm working with at the time, I always talk to them about as soon as they find out that someone doesn't have finance ready, I want to make that phone call or I want that person talking to me. And it's kind of a perception that I put out there around the Waikato that, hey, if you're looking to buy a house, call me. If you're thinking, am I ready to go? Call me. I'm just a conversation away, right? So it's like, for me, it's all about that early intervention. The sooner you can be in front of an advisor, the sooner we can have an answer back to you about where you sit. So the main things I do there, like you, as you asked, how do I do that? I like to collect initially a phone call, like or a Teams chat like this, and talk to the person, have a conversation with them about what they're trying to achieve, and if there's anyone else going to be involved with that process, i.e., a partner or maybe a friend or a sibling in a co-ownership situation, or any other family members. I bring all of the parties together and then we go through collecting their statement of position and I verify their incomes at the same time. That way I can run some numbers across multiple lenders and come back to them with a range or a window and say, right, based on the information I have currently, these are some options we can look at. And bank turnaround times, creating problems, like getting that letter of pre-approval can be difficult. I know some banks out there are still offering them depending on your deposit size. So if it links, then I'll always aim for the pre-approval first. If it doesn't, we will do a wider assessment and try and get things as narrowed as possible so that if I am giving them a figure, they can be confident in making an offer subject to finance or entering a live deal that way with, talking to a lawyer, things like that.
Yeah, because you don't want, I mean, obviously one of the other things is, we've got clients out there looking at, $1 million homes and they can afford a $600,000 home. So, I mean, obviously some people just like to go and look at $1 million, $2 million, $5 million homes.
Tell me about it.
But yeah, I quite just quietly so have I. But if you're seriously sort of like looking, and by having that initial conversation, I think that's absolute gold because by having that initial conversation, what you're actually doing is you're giving the client a realistic expectation of what their price range is. And what I always do is I always kind of would say to you, I would say to them, what would you like to spend on a house? And sometimes they say, oh, probably about 600,000 or 700,000, and sometimes it's less, and sometimes, well, we just don't know. Hence the reason we're ringing you. So what I say to them is, well, after having that conversation, what's your income? How much is your deposit?
Yeah.
From those two questions,
we can learn so much.
kind of got half an idea of what they potentially can borrow. Different banks are different, hence the reason they come into a broker, because we're going to offer multiple options for the clients by running multiple bank calculators.
Yes.
And each bank can offer different amounts. So I think by offering them that kind of insight at point A, i.e., rather than, oh, we found a house, panic, panic, panic. Oh, we've missed out on the house because there's absolutely no way we can get a pre-approval in this time frame. Is absolutely gold. And how long do the pre-approvals last for, Paul? When we get a client a pre-approval?
It's going to vary depending on the bank and your deposit size, anywhere from 60 to 90 days. I know one bank recently changed their guidelines, making all pre-approvals 60 days at the moment because of the high assessment times. So yeah, it really depends on who you're looking at the time as to how long it's going to be.
Yeah, I think general rule of thumb, if you're looking at borrowing over, and this isn't exclusively the deal, but if you're looking at borrowing over 80%, you might sort of get a 60-day approval. If you've got a 20% deposit, then you can have that for a little bit longer. And what would happen if the clients aren't able to have a pre-approval, but they aren't able to find a property within that 60 or 90 days? What happens then? Can they get another one? Do they have to start again? It's
a good question, eh? So, and I guess this is, another value add that a broker brings to the table. Once we help someone get that pre-approval, we will make notes to contact them prior to it expiring so that we can request an extension, right? So then we can roll it over, get another 60 or 90 days, allowing the clients more time to find the right property that suits them.
Yeah. Cool. Do the clients need to provide more information, or is it bank to bank?
Yeah, bank to bank is my understanding of it. You might be able to pitch in here too, but from what I've seen with the rollovers I've had, I've now been at Vega for 2 years. With the rollovers I've had, banks will have a series of questions that they want answered, which you'll do through an email and collect it in writing and then send it back. And generally they'll provide another pre-approval or an extension on that. So
yeah, pretty much spot on, mate. I mean, like there's one bank out there that they won't extend at the moment, and you have to kind of start again. There's another bank that will, for the first, or a couple of banks that for the first time it sort of expires, you just need to basically provide an email from the client saying that their financial situation hasn't changed, and they will roll it for a further sort of 3 months. And then there's another bank out there that will request maybe an updated bank calculator, some bank statements and not bank statements, but some pay slips, just to make sure that the financial situation hasn't changed, and then you'll get that through. So there's you don't have to use it within that period of time, but if it's an over 80% deal, I would strongly recommend that you want to be seriously looking, because with a lot of people don't understand with the banks lending over 80%, it isn't a given. The bank's got a very limited amount of money to lend in over that 80% space. Right. I think it's either 10 or 15% of their entire lending book or whatever can only be lent in that space. So yeah, and it's got to be what's called a live deal. So with that, you have to have a sale and purchase agreement, and to a lot of people that kind of seems a bit backwards, putting an offer in on a property before getting a house. But as long as you've kind of got a finance clause in that contract, and if you're borrowing over 80%, most banks are going to want a registered valuation.
Correct. Yeah.
So the valuations are going to take 5 or 6 days. If you want to pay an extra $250 for the valuation, you might be able to get it done in 3 business days. But I think a lot of people that are borrowing the over 80% space are going to need to at least give a minimum of 10 days for finance, and maybe even 15 days. I mean, we would like to be able to get clients in there, for 5 days, but realistically, if you've got to get a registered valuation, when the valuation comes back, the bank's then got to have a look at it, and there's a plethora of things that can sort of, rear their heads with valuations. What happens if the value doesn't value up? That's another thing as well, but I would like to sort of let people watching know, the bank, when the bank are lending money, when you get a registered valuation and you've got a sale and purchase agreement, the bank will lend against the lower of the two.
Yes.
So if you're buying a house for 600,000, there's the sale and purchase agreement, but you're borrowing over that 80%. You know, you've got to get you've got the sale and purchase agreement. You get the registered valuation comes back less. Well, it's the less figure that the bank are going to use, which means then that we need to see if you can borrow more in that over 80% space, or can you increase your deposit to make up the difference? So there's a couple of things there where the bank will use the lower of the two. Money!